AI companies are nerfing you. And to be honest, I feel like I called this one. Hey guys, it's me, Woody Devs, back here again. Let's talk about AI and let's get caught up. So the Rabbit situation just feels a little bit out of control. And honestly, I feel like I predicted this. Now, in case you're unfamiliar, the Rabbit is this little pocket device. It kind of looks like a phone, but it's not completely a phone. That's mostly voice activated, that you carry around with you and you can use to access the internet with AI. Basically, you get this little square, but then our big cloud of AI superpower will be able to do anything you want, and you'll be able to teach it, and it'll be able to kind of serve up things for you, content, Ubers, eating, Postmates, like whatever it is that you want to do. And I said, no, I called it, you guys. I said, this is not going to work. It's going to lead to people like quick grabbing things on Ticketmaster. That's even if it works. And you know what? I feel like I still feel a little bit gaslit by this because I feel like I'm the only YouTuber who is talking about that. All the other ones seem like actually pretty jazzed about the idea, but it's clearly got a few issues when you think about like the way we use the internet at human speeds and then how that changes things. This was all crystallized for me when I went to the Rabbit launch party. That's right, I actually went. They had this big event in NYC where they were basically kicking it off. If you had a pre-order, you could pick up in person. I mostly wanted to see what other kinds of people go to AI events and maybe see if I could make a couple friends and do a little people watching. And I will say I was not disappointed. Now, I'll tell you all about the event, but first I have to get to the thesis of this video and also my little I told you so. Now, we're all standing around actually, watching the CEO, Jesse Liu, give the demonstration of how Rabbit works and what's shipping with the device and what's not shipping. And one of the things he tells us is that the teach mode, the ability to teach the Rabbit how to do things for you on the internet, is not available yet. The thing they told us is that they were putting it through its paces, and there were too many opportunities for bad actors to be able to just pick up the lamb and then do something nefarious with it. And I thought that was interesting because that's more or less what I said in this channel. Basically, Jesse Liu told us for a while that they would probably be whitelisting stuff with the lamb until they figured it all out. Now, they showed us a little video of teach mode in action. It looked really impressive. I had no reason to doubt it until recently. You see, CoffeeZilla did an expose. You gotta love a CoffeeZilla expose. And he talked to people at Rabbit. He used the Rabbit, and we found out a bunch of things, both through his work and some other great YouTubers. And basically, just to get you up to the speed, journalists and researchers have dug into the Rabbit source code, and we found out that it doesn't even really use proprietary code to run any of its web commands. So like when it's accessing Uber or Postmates, all of its web interfacing ability basically just runs on the service called Playwright, which is this HTML interfacing program. It's designed for people to be able to make automated tests for their websites and things. It's definitely not a proprietary tool like a LAM. So the other stuff inside Rabbit is just like GPT and Perplexity. This stuff they were a little bit less cagey about, like we kind of knew that already. Rabbit also used to be an NFT company, and it certainly seems scammy as fuck. Jesse, the CEO, is also super defensive about shit online and has been looking sketchy as hell in replies to journalists and to CoffeeZilla and all kinds of people, and like calling them bad actors and saying that they wouldn't get it because they weren't AI engineers or something like that, which is all like textbook shit that you say when you don't have a real product and you're hiding stuff from people. So Jesse's also one hell of a synth player. He played a modular set after the show was over. There is a bit to be desired in terms of the melody, but like, just look at that dude. There's so many things I could begrudge this man, his NFTs, his shitty AI company. This seems like a magical, all-time, once-in-a-lifetime kind of thing, right? I really hope he savored that. CoffeeZilla reached out to Rabbit and basically just asked them to prove the lamb even exists, and was met with a, "You're a doubter and a bad actor, man. We don't need to prove anything to you." So the lamb probably isn't real. My whole experience with them talking about the whitelisting is starting to make a little bit more sense. Now, while Rabbit might not have the sauce for creating web browser agents, I do believe there are companies out there who are trying to make this happen. They could combine this with new vision models that we're seeing, like Pi 3 or Llama 3 Lava. That's hard to say. I think full autonomous web browsing bots are completely in the cards in the near future. Like, it could happen this year kind of thing. I do hate it. And also, I'm not one of them. I am a human person that runs a company. And the thing that the company does is we take virtual avatars and then we use them for broadcast events and things. That's my job. That's my day job. That's my day. It's been a long day and it's after work right now. And I'm hanging out in a virtual studio space and I'm ranting about bots. I also just want to say, I don't think anyone is going to give you access to these tools. No one is going to be giving you fantastic AI assistants that are able to scrape the web and interact with any website on your behalf and book you concert tickets. Nobody's going to be handing you a little AI device that's going to surf the internet for you and like roll up everything. Actually, you're going to get that. You're going to get a lot of AI skipping websites for you and reading stuff. You kind of like the way Arc browser works now. You're not going to get a little butler that just goes through things and gets you concert tickets. Like, I just don't think that's in the cards. There's kind of two problems that I see going on in the AI space right now that is keeping us from having all sorts of fun using these systems in crazy ways. So first of all, these are cloud-hosted models, right? ChatGPT is a bunch of computers in the cloud that deliver the information back to you a word at a time, back to your browser, and that fulfills the prompt, right? That is not just like an easy service that's just running in your browser when you download it from the web. That is deployed. And I don't think most people understand that. These things are hard to make and really expensive. The other one comes from just the amount of power that you have would be totally inappropriate. What if we could ask Siri to generate deep fakes of our favorite politicians doing weird shit? Like, God knows there's already been enough AI generated images of our favorite two geriatric presidents doing the weirdest shit. The Lamb is a good example of this level of instant access to power, but I think an even better example is Sora. So OpenAI released Sora back in, I think it was March, but only a handful of people have had access to it so far. My theory behind this is that it's for both reasons. People have noted that OpenAI went to a bunch of different studios after Sora came out and basically just said, you know, hey, this is something that you could have that would like augment your VFX departments or maybe replace them. Who knows? This was an enterprise product, right? Hollywood studios would be able to afford to use this. I also just don't think they want the average Joe to have access to this. It does seem really good. It can be a part of an effective pipeline to potentially fool people, at least in short stints of images. And that's really dangerous. And you and I, the unwashed masses, we're not the ones that are supposed to have that. I think the Lamb's the same way. I think it's expensive. I think it doesn't exist yet. And I think that even when you get something like that made, it's not necessarily the average consumer who wins. I think it's companies. I think it's JP Morgan Chase who's going to replace all of their bankers with these bots that are able to understand web pages well enough to be able to use them. And if they mess up your bank statement, well, who cares? Hopefully they update their terms of service to accommodate this. Because, it's going to be cheaper than people. If you think about it, like you would pay $50,000 as a company to replace a worker that costs $75,000. Like that's not a big deal at all. That's an easy spend. You know, if you're cutting 25K off and you do that for like an entire sector of your workforce, if you're a global company, that's huge savings. That's ridiculous. That's big. Let's say that Sora only costs 50K. That's a low number for something that takes place in the film industry. That's not even the price of one guy. That seems like a lot of money to you and me, though. We don't have that kind of money. It could be less than that. It could be more than that. It might depend on what kind of movie you're trying to make. A big part of the last 10 years has been people just trying to hand you the coolest possible shit that they could imagine. Like an iPhone that's supposed to be better than the last one every year, or this app that is like so convenient. It's like you don't even need a taxi service anymore. But what happens when you're trying to mass produce something that takes place in the cloud and is computationally expensive? Like that gets weird, right? It might not be expensive for a company, but it might be expensive for you. And you know what? Like the jury's still kind of out on all this stuff. Like I don't really know. Like the Rabbit could still succeed. It feels a little bit like Copium now that we know that the whole thing is basically just an Android app on a device, which is functionally just like a cheap Android phone. They may even still be able to build the Lamb on top of it. Like that it will cost a lot of money, but also they made a lot of money. Like they sold a lot of units. I think they made back their investor costs several times over. As someone who actually bought one of these things and grabbed it off of this fancy little conveyor belt that they had at the launch party, which honestly, let's talk, that's that was probably like $18,000 for me to just at one point reach my little hand out and just grab a freaking box and then walk off. I'm really excited about actually being able to use this for something cool. I really hope they stop threatening to sue 14-year-olds who are trying to jailbreak this thing so we can all just do whatever we want with this. Because for $200, like I'll do something cool with this. I'll turn this into like a little Unreal Engine remote that I can use to like change my scene or something like that. And maybe I'll hold it in my hand and then maybe we'll get like actual camera cuts in these videos, even though this is the second channel. And honestly, I think that's about where I am with all of it. Like, I want it to be good. Just make it good. If you could make it good, then I don't care.